Greetings everybody. I'm trying not to sound like I'm out of breath. I've only just started the climb. It is about 2 hours to sunset and I'm on my way up Latrigg near Keswick in the Lake District in Cumbria. I've only been up here once before. It's quite a accessible viewpoint. It's quite a high viewpoint. Overlooks Keswick and then Derwent Water and the Borrowdale Valley beyond. It's a well-known viewpoint, but what I'm hoping for is a bit of action up in the sky. Looks quite promising actually. Quite a bit of cloud texture going on up there. So hopefully that'll catch a little bit of colour. And then you've got mountains to the right, so Cat Bells and so forth. And then you've got the fells on the left, Waller Crag and King's How and so on and so forth, right out into the distance. So plenty of scenes, plenty of views, plenty of options. The time that I came up here before, I actually say I struggled. And I struggled because smack in the middle of the scene, in the foreground if you like, is Keswick. Full of, well, white houses by the look of it. But that's how it appeared. Lots and lots of little white buildings. And that just made for a messy foreground. I didn't want Keswick in the frame, and maybe, I mean, it's a few years ago now, maybe I've grown up a bit photographically and artistically, and you know, maybe tonight I'll cope with this a little bit more and just focus on the mountains and try and ignore Keswick as much as I possibly can. But I'm really looking forward to this. I've decided to come up here because it's unfinished business, having been up here once before, but I'm staying in Keswick, and to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't want to be a million miles away from where I'm staying at the end of the day. Having, you know, staying somewhere or doing a sunset shoot really late, and then having a really long drive home when all you want to do is have some food and go to bed, that holds no joy for me whatsoever. But it is absolutely beautiful up here. Let me just spin the camera around so you guys can actually see it. I can then actually catch my breath. So, Latrigg, really looking forward to it. Last night there wasn't a huge amount going on up in the sky. It was it was boring, that's unfair. Well, there was just little wisps of high cloud around here. Or today I think we've got a mixture of medium and a little bit of low cloud, which is a surprise really, because the forecast for today was it to be very fine and very bright and not a huge amount of cloud at all. So just goes to show the weather forecast is just that. It's a forecast, it's not gospel. And if you're going to go out and have a crack at landscape photography, you have to go regardless of the weather. Just go, just do it. I learnt that lesson this morning. This morning I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I looked at the forecast on the phone and went, nah, it looks rubbish. Went back to bed. I was also quite tired as well, which probably didn't help. But at 7 o'clock or 7:30, when I got myself out of bed, having had another couple of hours of delicious sleep, I then opened the curtains and found this lovely textured cloud scudding around in the sky. I probably missed out on an opportunity there. I should have gotten up anyway, but that's a lesson that I will learn, and I will put that lesson into practice tomorrow. But until then, it's onwards to Latrigg. Excuse the silly hat, but it's getting quite cold up here now. So sunset's about 15 minutes or so away. There was some beautiful light on the fells in front of me, which deserved taking some images. Those are the ones that you saw before this little piece. So I now just stood up here waiting to see whether this cloud in front of me, this nice big fat cloud behind me, catches some light. I hope you can hear me okay. It is quite breezy up here, for which I apologise. Not that there's a huge amount I can do about it. So standing up here looking at the view, let me just turn around so you can see down there, that's the lake. There's Derwent Water, and then you've got Keswick out over there, and you can see it's all predominantly white in colour. It's not ideal, but what I've been toying with the idea of doing is a panoramic, trying to, and it'd be quite a thin panorama, because if I do that, then I could, with a straight line, I could kind of take off the vast majority of Keswick. And I've got nothing against Keswick. I love the town. It's a fantastic place, and I love coming here. But I want the image to be about the lake looking very small and very vulnerable in amongst these fantastic mountains and hills, and having a town predominantly of brightly coloured houses just kind of doesn't add to that story. So if I do a thin panorama, that means I can remove the vast majority of the town, and whatever is left I can probably darken down a little bit more in software so that it's not quite so noticeable, so that the viewer's attention is drawn to the mountains, the hills, the lake, and hopefully some gorgeous colour up in the sky. So I have my camera here all set up and ready to rock. Let me just find it. There it is. I've levelled the head so that as I rotate the head, it stays on the level, and I get a nice, perfectly level image. The one thing that I'm struggling with a little bit is where to start and where to finish. Now, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I could do a whole 360 or a full 360 because the view up here is absolutely magnificent. But think about the story. So the story is this body of water in front of me looking small, diminutive, dwarfed by the grandeur and the spectacle that's all around it. So to include a lot out on the left and a lot out on the right that isn't contributing to that grandeur and so forth idea, it's not really going to work. I also think, and I'm a firm believer in the edges of the image having something that comes in from one side and from the other. It shouldn't, in my opinion, humbly, do that coming up into the picture. The simple reason for that is that if the eye follows the line of the mountains, you want the eye to be led up and hopefully back down again, rather than up and then sweeping out the bottom of the picture or sweeping out the side of the picture. So that's quite important. Now, in terms of peaks that would enable me to do that, I've got one over there. I don't know its name, but I'm pretty sure it's not a million miles away from Walla Crag. And then I've got a series of peaks in this direction. I've got Cat Bells, Causey Pike, and then there's another one that's currently silhouetted in front of me that could act as the right hand side, because I think if I go any further it starts to get a bit dark and a bit, I kind of lose any definition. Up to that point I've got layers in the hills over here and over here, because the sun or the sunlight is illuminating this piece over here on the left hand side. I don't need those layers because I can see that much more clearly. So I think that's my panorama. I'm going to take a leaf out of Thomas Heaton's book and actually put my hand over the first image and then over the last image, so I I know where the panorama starts and where the panorama finishes, and again I'm going to take more frames than I actually need. So even though I've identified what I think are my two bookends of the panorama, I'm going to start beyond and I'm going to finish beyond to give myself plenty of latitude. Now I'm just waiting for the colour. Alright, I think we're game on. So, image number one. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stick the edge of this camera in so that I know which one's which. Right, cool. Right, so frame number one. I'm using a 2-second timer. Paying attention to making sure that I've got enough of an overlap between each of the images to allow them to stitch. Let the camera rest. 2-second timer. Click. And then just keep doing the same thing all the way around. And the colour is building quite quickly now. I was actually getting quite concerned because there's actually a layer of cloud on the horizon, and I was half expecting the colour to get completely snuffed out, but as it would happen, that's not the case, which is very, very cool indeed. So there's my second peak. And now I'm going to use my hand. And there we go. There's my first panorama. Now, the way to do this, so I'm told, is to just, as the light changes, just to keep rattling off frames as the light changes. Now, even in the time that I've done that, the light has changed. It's changed quite significantly. So there's a little wispy bit of cloud down the bottom of, or the back end of Borrowdale. That's now lighting up nice and pink, and I've got some strips out here in front of me that are also starting to light up. So I'm going to do it again. Just going to put this in front so I know where it starts. Right, then we do another one. That's the start, and then we do it again. Clickety clickety click. It's not that hard to do. Just been an awful lot of processing when I get home. I think I need to have a quick play with the grey grad as well. You notice I've got the camera in portrait format. That's to enable me to capture as much of the sky as I can. No, I think the grad is actually about spot on. And there we go. Now that piece down there that I was talking about, down the back end of Borrowdale Valley, that's now lost its colour. That's gone completely, and I've just got this strip out in front of me now that's got some colour in it, and that's all that's left. I hope that's not it. I'm hoping that some of this up above will capture that colour. So what I'm going to do, put the camera right the way back round again, just in case, and then as the colour changes, keep rattling off frames. Right, keep going, game on. Okay, ladies and gents, that's it, that's a wrap. That moment, that, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes where the cloud in front of me caught the colour was as good as it got. What's happening right now is that there's just some little wisps of high cloud out in the distance, and they're now catching a little bit of colour, which is what you can see on my face. But what's in front of it is dark grey bands and strands of grey cloud. But the mountain ranges that are in front of me are just completely in shadow. They're just great big lumps. You really can't see anything. So whilst the colour in the sky looks absolutely gorgeous, I can't really do anything with it well, at least from up here, which is it's a little bit frustrating, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I have had a couple of goes, but even putting lots and lots of grads over the colour, over the sky, and trying to bring the mountain detail out, it doesn't look right, it doesn't look natural, because what I can see with my eyes is silhouettes, blocks, which in photographic terms isn't necessarily going to work. If the lake was picking up the colour, which it isn't, excuse me, sorry, then maybe that would hang together. Note to self: look where you're walking. Let me see if the camera can pick it up. I don't think it can. Let me dial it back. Oh, is that the wrong way? No, not that one, it's that one. No, it's not going to do it for me. That's a shame. I was hoping it would, but it hasn't. No, never mind, don't worry about it. You'll just have to take my word for it that it's definitely there. And there's little pink bits appearing up here now. They won't last very long and they'll be gone. There's this lovely, brilliant, red, vibrant strip in front of me, but I don't know. I think I'm forcing something to happen where there isn't really anything to happen. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to have a go. So that's it. Time to go back to the B&B. Go and stick the heater on and warm up, and have a look at the images and the panos. I'm not so confident about the panos. I'll give them a go in software, but the colour was so slight and so fleeting. I'm not sure it's necessarily going to be very noticeable, but even if they don't work, just being out here and witnessing those moments, I was the only one up here, so I was the only one that saw the sunset today from that vantage point. Nobody else was up here watching it, so I had a unique view. There would have been other people on the lake shore or whatever watching it, but they wouldn't have had the same view that I had. Maybe there were a couple of sheep around me that were watching it, but they wouldn't have appreciated it the same way that I did, clearly because they're sheep. So, you know, just being out here and experiencing that couple of minutes and enjoying it, that makes it all worthwhile. Now, if I can capture it and retain it in a photograph, then so much the better. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope the images that come, assuming they're going to come, are good and you enjoy them. I hope you enjoyed the content. Again, I'm trying to make these videos kind of a bit raw. I don't come at them with a plan. I just go out somewhere and talk about what I'm experiencing, the challenges I've got, and how I'm overcoming those challenges. And I'm hoping that people that view this content actually learn something from it, learn from my mistakes, if you like. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please do consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, please also press the bell button, because then you'll be notified of when new content is added. I'm aiming to add new content once every month. I can only do it once a month because I actually don't get out often enough to do it more often. So it'll be once a month, on or around the 22nd, 23rd of the month is when I upload. But if you click the bell button, you'll know about it. And you know, please leave a comment, leave a like or a dislike. I won't be offended, I promise you. And until the next one, please go and enjoy your photography from a very, very colourful well, at least a very, very colourful strip on the horizon for a very colourful Cumbria, just outside Keswick, near the top of Latrigg. Thank you very much. I shall see you on the next one. Be good. See you soon.